Alrighty, it is time to talk about the remaining two bosses in the raid for Bigwigs. And first up, we are going to talk about Broodkepper Diurna. Alright, so Broodkeeper. The important things is basically going to be whenever the eggs explode. So we have, we'll just go through each ability on here and then check it on Bigwigs. So we have rapid incubation. This is just whichever two eggs that she's closest to are going to be put a timer on them, and they're going to hatch if the timer goes through. We are going to prevent that by using the staff that she spawns to then break the eggs. But each time that we break an egg and remove the timer from it, it is going to deal raid-wide damage to everybody. So we are going to want to be able to heal through that. So knowing when someone is activating the staff is probably going to be important. So let's go ahead and check here. So we have Broodkeeper's Bond, eggs remaining. This just shows how many eggs are left. Great staff of the Broodkeeper. Any beds or graves have nearby. So this is just when the staff is available to use. So say that our guild is assigning us to use the staff, we would want to go in here and adjust this and make some kind of like countdown or sound, something like that. I have not been using the staff, so I'm not going to set that up. But if you are using the staff, you're going to want to set this up right here, the one that says Great Staff. Next up is what we're, as healers, going to want to be aware of, which is the Great Staff Wrath. This is going to just let us know when the laser is happening. So we can set this to a sound, and we can set it to, right now it's raid warning. We can set it to probably destruction is totally fine. I'm fine with that. So when the laser is chasing someone, it's going to say that so that we just know, hey, here it comes. And then we have infused eggs, rapid incubation, and now we can continue on to the next ability. So next up is going to be Wildfire. This marks all players with a circle, which will drop a swirl under their feet once it hits them, and apply a dot to them. So this will apply a raid-wide dot. So this is where we'll probably primarily be using healing cooldowns. This, alongside the eggs exploding, is going to be the primary uses of our healing abilities. So we're going to want to set up some kind of countdown timer for Wildfire, since on Heroic you need to spread out with it. Normal you won't have to, but on Heroic you will need to spread out. So this is what we're going to enable our countdown for. And then we will also set the alert to our use defensive sound from the previous video. So that was, I believe, 190. No, it was 183. It was that. Cool. So that just lets us know. We'll have a countdown to know to spread out ahead of time, and then we'll hear that noise to know to press defensive for the Wildfire coming up. Alright, let's see what else we have. Ionizing Charge. This is cast by the add. Separate players are marked and deal pulsing damage around them for 8 seconds. So if you have this debuff, you're going to want to be away from other players. So easy enough, we can find this. This is... where was it at? It was the Ionizing Charge. We would just set it to only when on me, and then we would make the sound. We would just make the sound the flag taken sound to let us know, hey, you have a debuff and you need to stay away from other people. Cool. What is next on the list? Next up, we have Flame Sentry. This is just a rotating beam at multiple players' feet that deals damage to anyone hit. So this just seems like a pretty clear visual indicator. We shouldn't need to set anything up for this, I don't think. And then we have Chilling Tantrum. This is cast by the Juvenile Frost Proto-Dragon. Deals damage every 1 second for 6 seconds to players within 50 yards and slows them. So this just does raid-wide damage, basically, for the group, because there's usually going to be a group killing the adds and a group killing the boss. So this is going to be dealing damage to the group. So this is going to be important, probably to set up some kind of noise for, so that we just know to heal through it. So I think for this, we're not going to set up anything specific. We're just going to leave it as is, but it's going to be the other thing that we're going to want to be very aware of to heal through and stuff like that. And then we have the Great Staff. We have all this. Don't need to worry about this. Icy Shroud. The Braid takes a burst of damage, a 30% snare, and a large dispellable heal absorption shield. Quickly heal or dispel the raid. We'll probably just heal through that, or I mean dispel it, so I don't think we need to be too concerned with this. But we could just set this to say dispel. So when it says Icy Shroud, we will just change the sound of this, and we will just change it to the voice line that says dispel at the bottom, just to remind us to always use our dispel.
Dispel.
On somebody. Even if we only have a single target dispel, it'll still be useful. And then especially if we're playing like Priest or, Mistweaver Monk, something that can AoE dispel, then this will be really nice to just have an audible reminder. And then I think that's pretty much it. We have frontals right here. Frontal towards the tank, it's called Tremors, so we can enable a frontal sound for that, just to be aware of it if we're playing a melee healer or have to get up close. So for Tremors, we will do the frontal noise, which is 190. There we go. And do we have anything else important? We have the Flame Sentry, we have the Chilling Tantrum. Deals raid damage and buffs the ad with a large hot. Can be purged. Cauterizing Flash Flames. And then, don't need to worry about that. Phase 2, Empowered Greatstaff Wrath. Multiple players will automatically be targeted by a beam that follows them, dealing damage to anyone hit and destroying eggs in the path. Okay, so this you don't have a choice, it looks like. So this one we will want a notification for, and this is... where is it? Do we get a notification for this one? Empowered Greatstaff right here. Empowered Greatstaff Laser, we would say only when on me, and then we would just make the noise the PvP flag taken sound. And we did have the flag taken PvP sound already enabled. It was the... what did we enable for that? I don't even remember now. Wasn't that? It was the ionizing charge, right? So maybe for this one...
Spread.
we'll have it say spread instead. Just so that they don't overlap, because I don't know if they actually will overlap. I'm going to assume that in Phase 2 there's no ads anymore, so it's probably not an issue. I'm gonna leave it how I had it originally, just so I don't confuse myself, and then if they end up overlapping, I'll come back in and change it. So we'll keep it as the flag taken sound for both abilities. And then the only other thing is the Frozen Shroud. Heal Absorb, dispels, expel a surge of ice, immobilizing them with an attackable rhyme cause, blah, blah, blah. Wildfire in Phase 2. Looks like the exact same. The swirl will explode after a delay, and in Phase 2, another wave happens after the first one. And then the raid takes a burst of damage. Healing or dispelling, destroying the ice removes the heal absorption. Okay. So easy enough, nothing really changes there. I will change this noise to dispel once again, just so we have it matching the phase 1.
Dispel.
And then I think that's it for Broodkeeper. So pretty straightforward. We mark the abilities that are important, and we mark the abilities that are going to automatically target us that we don't have control over, so that we know if we're targeted by them rather than being unaware. And that's it for them. So now we will move on to Raszageth the Storm Eater, which is a super, super fun fight. So for this boss, we are going to start with the stuff that's important, which is the static charge in phase 1. So static charge are these bombs that I think 3 players get on normal at least. And then when the debuff expires on you, it drops this giant pool on the floor, and then people are going to use the pool in order to avoid getting knocked off the platform when she does her big pushback. So we're going to want to know if we get targeted by static charge. We don't really need to know if other people get targeted. So only when on me. And then we go ahead and make the sound the PvP flag taken sound. There we go. And then we have the Hurricane Wing, which is the pushback. We probably could enable the countdown for this just so that we know when that's going to happen. Or we could do the Lightning Breath, because the Lightning Breath is like a frontal that she does. Since I have the dragons in Ruby Life Pools, this isn't exactly in connection with one another, but because we have the dragons in Ruby Life Pools, their frontals are on a countdown. I'm going to enable Raszageth's on a countdown as well, just so that it reminds me of the same kind of similar mechanic. And then the pushback, Raid Leader always calls for that, so I'm not too worried about it, but if we want to enable something for that, we can. And then, so that's the pushback, is the Hurricane Wing. This is where you now use the pools that people dropped, and then she knocks everybody back in the raid, and you use the pools to slow yourself down. Otherwise, she just pushes you off the edge. And then we have Volatile Current. This is... Everyone's going to spread out in the raid. I don't know if it's going to show the video or not. It looks bugged. So this mechanic, everyone gets like a circle debuff around them, and then it drops under them, does damage to the whole raid, and then it leaves an ad behind that just does a interruptible cast, and you just have to interrupt the ad or stun it or crowd control it or knock it back in some way. You have to just CC it in any way, shape, or form, and it will remove the ad instantly and just kill it. So what we can do for that is the Volatile Current. So for this, we can probably don't need to set a sound for this one specifically. But we could do the spread voice line.
Spread.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We'll change that. And then we have the Lightning Breath. That's what we just changed for the countdown. And then we have Lightning Strikes. This is just little AoE circles in random areas. Nothing we can really do about that. Electrified Jaws is a tank ability. And let's see. Electric Scales. Looks like this is a ability that applies a small dot to people. So I think we should set this to, if we get targeted, we press a defensive, so only when on me. And then we just set it to the 183, I believe it is. Cool. There we go. Now we move on to phase 2, I believe, or the intermission. So we have... You go to the other platforms, and then there's going to be ads that spawn. And you are just killing the ads, but then while you're killing the ads, the boss is going to cast a giant lightning breath across the entire room. So this is probably what we'd enable a countdown for, just for the intermission specifically. So intermission right here, we go lightning devastation. We enable a countdown for that. And then we can also enable a beware sound, just so that we know
beware
that she is going to be breathing across the platform. And then we have Surging Blast. This is See what Surging Blast is, because I don't remember what that is. Luminous Shroud, Windforce Strikes. These are just the ads. Let me interrupt these. Okay, so nothing else too much more important besides that. It looks like this might be a heroic only mechanic. The Surging Blast, it looks like you get little bombs on you. Yeah, it looks like one of the ads applies bombs to people. After 6 seconds, the energy explodes, inflicting damage to players within 7 yards. So you just spread out. So we'll put only one on me, and we will enable the sound to the flag taken sound so that we know to get away from people. And then we'll leave the rest alone. Don't need to worry about it. And then we have phase 2, which is where we return to fighting the boss. She's going to do Storm Surge, which is going to be this giant ring that she applies. Oh, this is the positive and minus thing. So you have half the raid get a positive buff and half the raid get a negative buff, and you all have to stack together in the same spot. Like all the negatives have to stack together and all the positives have to stack together. And then it's just a bunch of raid-wide damage. So this, I wouldn't worry too much about applying any kind of like changes in Bigwigs for. I think it's very noticeable when it's happening. You have plenty of time to get ready for it and everything. What we're going to want to care about is probably this right here. This just applies a big pushback to the raid, and then you have to run through this ring that she's applying, and the faster you get through it, the less damage you take. So we'll probably want to enable a countdown for this during this phase. And if it hasn't been made clear yet, usually in the like penultimate boss fights, I usually try to find countdowns for multiple things because there's multiple stages of the fight. So I usually try to find a countdown timer for each, like one countdown for each phase, as long as they aren't overlapping in some way. So this is going to be the, where did it go? Tempest Wing, is that it? Yeah, that's the Storm Wave. So we enable a countdown for that. And then, damage buff, scattered charge, fulminating charge. The fulminating charge is 3 giant circles around players, and they have to get to the edge of the room. And if it hits anybody else, it pops on them again. But then it becomes smaller, so it becomes smaller and smaller each time. So if we have that, we're gonna want a notification telling us to get way out of the raid. So only one on me, and then we will enable the sound to be the flag taken sound. And I think that's pretty much it for phase 2. And then we have the next intermission. And then just the final phase. So the next intermission is going to spawn a big ad. And then he is going to teleport to, I think he prioritizes healers, so he teleports away to healers or random players, and then he drops behind a bunch of little ads, and you have to kill the little ads. Don't really need to set up a notification for that. And then we have Ball Lightning, which he will shoot a bunch of balls in random directions. We'll definitely want to be aware when this is happening, so we're going to probably enable a countdown for the lightning balls. And then I guess just to keep it consistent, we shouldn't do that. We should enable a countdown for Raszageth because she is still breathing across the platform. I wonder if it just counts as this one. I think it does. So we're just going to leave the countdown for that, not enable a countdown for Ball Lightning. We'll just leave that be for now. And then, so we won't really change anything for the second intermission. And then we have stage 3, which is going to basically be the same as stage 1, except now the platform grows smaller and the mechanics get a little more intense, and she mixes some of the phase 2 mechanics. So we have the bombs again that we need to use. So magnetic charge, only one on me. And we enable the sound to be the flag taken sound. And then we have... Don't need to worry about Raging Storm or Storm Spite. That's that ring that slowly closes in on the last platform. I can show you it here. So that is... Cast this knock when she enters phase 3. Yeah. And then this is Raging Storm, so all the purple stuff around the edge of the room. Alright, and then we have Thunderous Blast, beam on the current tank for 2 seconds, inflicting massive damage. So this does raid-wide damage. It's not really a frontal though, but we might... Okay, she does still do a lightning breath, so we'll want to enable a countdown for that. Okay, it's still using all the stuff from phase 1. And then, yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. And then this is just mythic mode stuff, which we'll edit that when we get to it. Cool, so that is Raszageth. Hopefully that walkthrough is helpful. I know these walkthroughs aren't really like, it's less of a guide and more of me walking through just myself setting it up. So hopefully it's helpful. If you would prefer me to just like set it up myself previously and optimize it and fine tune it for myself and then just be like, here's how I did it. Here's how you should do it too. Then let me know. This is all kind of an experiment of seeing what people like the most, just so that I can keep rolling with this content as, you know, future patches come out, and just keep the content consistent for what people enjoy watching and stuff like that. But other than that, let me know what you thought, and I hope you guys are enjoying the raid as much as I am, and have a wonderful day or evening or, you know, whatever, wherever you are. So see you later.